Hello and welcome back. We're still in the middle of assembling the module here. As you can see, I've cleaned up a few things. I've made a separate cell, the inverted cell. I ended up having to just do the extrusions on these. I thought I'd be able to just change this length here to negative. Unfortunately, that didn't work. But I've also, you might have seen that there's a lot less of these tabs on here because I didn't need half of them. So every second one gets skipped on each side. And I've since just been assembling these cells, and it's been pretty easy going. So I've just been going a mix between inverted and non-inverted. You could probably smash out the normal cells and then the inverted cells all at once, but it's not really that much quicker. It's probably slightly quicker, but it doesn't make that much of a difference, I've found. The hardest part's really been making sure that you get the right since I've now gone off my that's right, yeah, so that's a normal cell. I'll be getting the right pattern, so remembering which one you've just done last. So assemble, inverted, and so this one just sits on top of the other tab, like so, and then I think this one goes outside in as well, yep. So these are the sorts of small things that you need to remember when you do your first constraint, that you want to kind of keep it consistent, otherwise you'll be like flicking between them all the time, like doing this hole first rather than that hole. But yeah, so one last one left to go, and I believe it's the normal cell. But as you can see, with the way that they mount, this one's currently kind of up. I can't really point my finger at it. So if I go 1, 2, 3, this one sits on the bottom. Which in the real assembly it wouldn't happen like that, but in terms of modeling it like this, it's not that bad. Because in terms of accuracy, you know, it's the same sort of thickness. Yes, this one would sit on the bottom rather than the top. All that would really do is maybe shift the whole cell out by like a small degree. But you can always just get around that by modeling the outside to be a bit thicker or a bit wider than it normally should be. And then you shouldn't run into any issues with that. With all of those done, we are now up to making the bus bars which sit on top of these things. There's obviously two terminals which sit on the end ones. Whether or not we'll make the terminals, I think we will make the terminals because we can make a revolve doing that. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and go new, part, bus bar. I'm just going to call it bus because, as I mentioned before in the last tutorial, if you've got the same sort of name, Creo doesn't like it if it's in the same directory. So this is going to be brass as well. Yep, spell my name wrong. Part number, I can't remember what we're up to now, B 10009 or something. Part type or bus bar. Awesome. Done. Now I'm going to turn my planes and things on. Extrusion, top. Now this one's going to be pretty easy. So it's just going to be one thing like this. I don't know how big it's going to be. Maybe 80, I think it's going to be. Width is going to be the same as the thingo, which I think was about 10. I think it might have been a little bit less than that actually, but we can always go back and change that. So yep, that'll do. Okay, we'll make it 15 tall. Yep, that looks good. And now it's got a side profile here. So I'm just going to do that out of rectangles because why not? That's a lot easier than anything else. So I'm just going to go there, and then from here to there. Done. Just a few dimensions here to make it look a bit more accurate. 5, yeah, let's make it 5, why not? Distance between these two, 15. And how long is this? Oh yeah, let's make it 15. Okay, and we're just going to extrude that out so we have a shape like this. Okay, done. We're going to put the hole in the side here where the top one sits. It can just kind of float, I guess. We could be a bit more accurate and put a center line. Yep, looks better. Circle. These are, I think they were M4s by the end of the day. Can't remember now though. We'll just flip that around. Actually, these were tapped holes. So to tap a hole, it's actually easier in the drawing to go and comment that it's a tap hole. You can go, I think it's engineering and cosmetic thread, and then I select this and put my thread on this way. So if I just that, and then there should be a ISO, so I can go, you know, if it's an M4 or whatever it is, M4 by whatever, this surface, how long it is, go OK. Now, you can't see it at the moment, and I think that's got it turned off, but normally this leaves a big annoying bubble that kind of just floats there all the time, and it's not that useful because when it comes to making the drawings, you can kind of just do this anyway, and you can write your comments or whatever on there that you want to, but that is how you do a cosmetic thread. I haven't found too much use for it. Obviously, if there's two different people making the models and the drawings, yeah, you'd have to put the cosmetic thread in if there's no communication between those two people. But otherwise, I would just be pushing towards, if you're the one that's doing the model and doing the drawing, I would put the actual, you know, the details saying that this is a thread in the drawing section rather than a cosmetic thread. But that option is there if you would prefer to put a cosmetic thread on at this stage here. There are two other holes in this, so if we go model, extrude on top of here, I'm going to do this side first because this side's kind of more determining between the space, so it's more constrained to parameters around it. So I'm just going to put that in the center there. So circle, what size was it? Like a 4, I think it was. No, it was a 5. And I'll put the other circle over here, same size, and I'll make that so it's 60, I think it was. Awesome. Done. Flip. Awesome. Finished. Yeah, I think that's what they finally look like. I'm just going to save that, close, and then assemble. Assemble the bus. So I'm going to do, I always do the bottom surface first because I just find that is the best way to go about assemblies, because if you do anything else then it's kind of like, it's your order of operation when you're assembling it. You get it like roughly where it needs to be first, then you line it up, rather than lining things up perfectly then blocking what you're trying to assemble. That's also a thing that generally happens. If that does happen, you can press the right click button to see surfaces behind what you're trying to look at. So for instance, if I go, let's see, you with you. Sorry, I've missed it there. But see how I'm clicking the right click, and I'm cycling through the other surface. Obviously, like I said before, when you do a circle, it seems to think it's constrained, but it's not. So new constraint, you with you, and done. And that sits on there like so. So now we're gonna just go ahead and assemble several of them. So bottom first, surface first, outside, inside, placement, new location. Bottom, I'm going to just turn some of these things off because they're just getting in the road here. Don't need you either. So bottom surface, outside, inside, done. New location, bottom surface, outside, inside, done. And like as you can see, like you'd think assembling multiple things would just be really slow and time consuming, but it's actually fairly quick. If you've got, oops, as I jinxed myself, you know, if you got these set up properly, then it's going to go down pretty well. I can see one just kind of floating by itself at the moment. I don't know what the go is there, but we're just going to keep plowing through and hopefully it's fine. Now I did notice that that said orient instead of coincident, but we're just going to leave it because it's done to all of them, which is a bit annoying, but it should be fine. Yep, they all look good. And now we've got the bus bar to make. Sorry, not the bus bar, the top mons to make. So obviously these are kind of made to the degree of accuracy that this model is. But making these bus bars, I don't know if you can see, but this space, not bus bars, the top ones, this space here is pretty big. The top ones aren't that big. These are generally all closer together. So if I just go and measure that, so from there, and then I'm going to go press Control over here. So that's 10 mils space. So they're definitely not 10 mils apart. So this kind of errors come in by assuming like the radius of this and whatnot, like how much it turns, how quick it turns, and obviously how thick this is. So I'd like to safely say, okay, well, we can make these things thicker to make the actual top ones thinner. While that's kind of not how you'd go about modeling or designing, you'd be more inclined to get this right the first time around. To fix that, I've got to go through and change all these hole spacings as well, which is a bit annoying. But as you can see, like these bus bars kind of sit a lot closer in real life, I think, and like this radius here is a lot sharper, and these are probably also wider. But I'm just gonna go ahead and change the actual thickness of like how wide these sit, and that'll give me a smaller distance between the two. Maybe I might get down to 5 mil, which is it's not fantastic, but it's better than 10 mil, what I've got at the moment. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go open one of these up since they're all the same. Is that around the right way? Yes, it is. Open. So obviously on the actual models, these are kind of different, or the actual thing I should say, these are kind of different with the studs. But I'm going to kind of show you how to make an earlier generation stud for these a bit later. So I'm just going to open that up and change this extrusion here. Instead of 10, I'm going to go ahead and make it 20. It's going to be one wide bus bar. Very fat. Let's just see. Yeah, I think I'm going to just quickly edit that in here. If I can, bus bar. I'll just make that 15 instead, and we'll just go from there. So I'm just going to, because I edited it in here, it doesn't automatically update, so I just have to press the regen button. So that's still super wide. Obviously, it's not very accurate, but we're just going to keep going through. If I just give that a quick measure, so I just press Control. So yeah, it's 5 mil now. I guess if we put a small washer or something in there, we can kind of bring that down. So I think I don't think I'll bother doing that. Or I'll put it on the actual bus bar is what I'll do. So not the bar. I keep calling it a bus bar. Sorry, I'm talking about top ones. So I'll just make a new one, top mon. I'll call it one word because it shouldn't have been called that. I'm not going to look at the other things because all these like material, like it's a PCB board. But yeah, normally you'd fill that out anyway. But just to get this done, I'm just going to skip that anyway. Let's go on the front side, extrude. And I think these are roughly, let's say, 15 tall. And these are, I'm just going to go check. So I'm going to have to just finish that extrusion off. I'm going to make that 3mm thick. It's one thick boy. And I'm just going to go and measure between, so obviously you'd never be measuring how long your top mons are in real life because you've kind of got standards. Oh, 150.3. How's that? What did I put in? And I'm in the middle of measuring something. 150. Close. So I need a bit of room for the thing to go a bit longer. So I'm going to go 170. Awesome. Extrude in here. Now I'm going to put my two holes. So I'm going to just put a center line in so they line up nice and quickly. Circle. Circle. Now I want this to be 150. And I obviously don't want that off the piece. So that's going to be, yeah, 10. It's going to be 10. Size of the hole was like 4. Maybe it's 5. Okay. Flip that around because we want to take material out. Done. Now these have these do have like little cell things on them. So like resistors and stuff because they dissipate heat. So you could put that on with a pattern. And that's what I did on the actual one for the model. But then I realized that they only really sit on the one side. So you've kind of seen me do a pattern before, but all I kind of really did was just go 1, done, and then something small like 0.5 or something like that. And then I kind of just did the usual pattern thing where I went pattern, dimension, direction, what I want. Flip that around, second direction, this way, distance 5, I don't know, make it 3 then. Yeah, that might fit. And then this way I just want to have like 50, I don't know, maybe not that many. Yeah, like obviously you're kind of just making this stuff up. You could make a super accurate model, but it gets to a point where it doesn't really matter. As long as you know that they're there, like put something on there in the actual model if you're making a, you know, this for something else, but for what we're doing, which is just demonstrating how to do something like this. I've already shown you how to make a pattern. You can do something. I'm going to just leave these on anyway, I think, because it's literally just done. But yeah, save that, close. I don't need you anymore, close. And just like before, we're just going to go ahead and assemble it. So assemble, top mon, place that down. And so like normally the flat side goes, they all face the same way. So because I'm going to always face this way with my actual screen. I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to go, yeah, that'll do. Constraint's not valid. So I think I'll, instead of selecting that axis, that is that. I don't know what happened there. The axis should have worked. but it didn't, because sometimes Creo just doesn't like people. So I'm just pressing right click here to cycle through till I get the service that I want, and then there, cool, done. And so that's kind of what the thing looks like, and I'm just going to do that several times. So just like I did before, done the first one, I can just go open, bang, and I'm just going to go bang. I think I want to do this side first now. So 1, 2, placement, new location, bang, 1, 2, new location, bang, 1, 2. And the reason why I'm doing this way to that way, because if I did the other way around, those little those simulated resist things, whatever they're supposed to be, would be facing on the other side, which is not how it is in real life. But like those small things are the things you kind of get to think about when you're designing things, because you want to make sure you've got enough room for stuff. And if your model is slightly inaccurate, your degree of accuracy in terms of how much room you've got is going to also be wrong. So it's important to try and keep everything as accurate as possible. 1, 2. No, 1, 2. And 1 more, new location. 1, 1, 2. And I've done something wrong. Oh my goodness. Yep, I don't know what I've done here, but I've managed to just ruin everything. Christmas is ruined. I'm just going to... Okay, I've somehow managed to save it, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to delete that one. I don't know what's happened. Yep, I'm just going to turn planes off, because there's just got a bit too messy for me, and errors happened. So 1, 2. Yes, that's exactly what I want. But that's kind of got to do, I don't know why it keeps snapping to this, so that should be coincidental. Yep, it did it fine for the other ones, I don't know. Oh, I must have just did it the wrong way around. Anyway, they're on. They're finally on. Now it looks pretty dull right now. I'm going to quickly show you guys how to color code certain things. So this FR4 sheet ended up being just a PCB board without anything on it. So if I just go to View, Preferences, and I can just change it to like a color that like represents what it actually is. Save it, close. These top mons, they're black, so I'll just open that. Paint that black. So View, Appearance. I'm just going to go to Plastics or something. Plastics, frosted, no, not frosted, injected, black, cool, save, close. And doing that, you kind of start to get a nice looking thing together. If these are brass, we'll make them brass. So you've obviously got things like brass in there too. So if you go View, Appearance, metal, brass, awesome. Pick from like 10 of them. That one looks gross. How about this one? Oh well, that'll do. Close that. And obviously you can start making your thing look like what it actually is. Just the kind of nice finishing touches which seem to make the difference more than anything. But yeah, just so you know that's there. That's how you do that. It's very easy. The way I've been selecting the whole thing and changing that is a nice way to do it. Obviously, sometimes you don't have that option and you have to, each part's kind of different, so you have to get the brush and click. Yes, I have not found a quick way to do that. It's kind of just select, control, and select all your surfaces, and then eventually middle click, and that'll fix that. But I've not found a nice way to do that, so unfortunately, it is what it is. Anyway, I'll close that now, and we'll get the last thing, which is the studs. So we'll go new, part, studs, we won't use that, material, brass, part number, B something, 0, 1, 0, 0, 10 or something, whatever up to, part title, stud. Yeah, so obviously the final version of our battery module, we had studs which were brazed or plug welded from the bottom or whatever they were, or it was just one big machine part. I'm pretty sure they were brazed or something, because that would have been the easiest way to do it. But I'm just going to show you how to draw something up that's cylindrical that slots in here. So I think that's a 5mm hole at the moment. Yes, 5mm. Awesome. So we're just going to go ahead and go here. Now there's a few ways you can do a shaft. So I'm just going to put planes on. We're going to go to the front and do a sketch. So we can do a revolve by drawing one section. Sorry, we draw like the cross section. We go like this, and then like come up, then have our little top part like that, come down. And so this is a sketch, right? So I'm just say, oh yep, I'm done with that. If I select that and do a revolve about this axis, I get that shape there. The other option you have is to, obviously this could be broken up into sections. So you got like section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5, and they could be separate extrusions. You can obviously, you got 1 revolve versus 5 extrusions. Which one do you think's better? Just kind of a easy way to say, okay, this is probably your best option. Obviously, the one issue I have with this is Creo's on-the-fly sketching. I find you can't just go, okay, draw this line, I want that line to be this, unless you get out of it and draw it again. So you could probably see just by quickly looking at it, this is 52. This needs to be 2.5. So when I start going through and changing these things, they start getting pretty hairy. And if you're not careful, so like this dimension I'm about to make is going to be less than this, the whole thing's going to kind of fall apart on each other. So I'm going to go ahead and make that like 10mm and see how we're just like constantly just breaking the model, and I'm just going to get the dimension tool out. It is a bit of a pain, so the only tip I can say is, if you want to be cautious about it, just dimension each line at a time. So just go line, double click, middle mouse, edit dimension, 5, line, or even if you just do that at the start, because obviously you now know, okay, this is 5mm, you're not going to fall into that same error of having everything bigger than it should be. So I'm just going to actually do that now, because I now just pointed out a much better way of doing things. So I'm just going to delete that whole revolve and that sketch there, delete. And I'm going to just go ahead and go sketch on you. Yep. line. So how big do I want it? I think they're only like 50 mil tall total. The first 10 or so mil is just going to be the shaft. Then we're going to have a thing that pokes out for a bit, comes in, and then it goes on the thingo, has a little bit at the end before coming to a final finale, which goes all the way up here. Yeah, so obviously it's just out of proportion, but I can just go in here and change those values now as I want. So 2.5, I want from there to there. This I want to be, so from here to there, here to there. So I go 1, 2 clicks, and then middle mouse click. I want to delete that reference there, and I'm going to make that, yeah, 5, perfect, awesome, just what I wanted. I don't know how big this is, what's that say, 5? I'll just make that 10. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger. I'm going to make that 12. Lovely, just what I wanted. And I'm going to see if I can fix that with this tool here. No, it's broken. Anyway, this is Creo's biggest fall down, I find, is these sorts of sketches. So while 5 extrusions doesn't sound fantastic, it's actually not that bad in the scheme of things, because dealing with this can sometimes just be that much of a pain. Because yeah, things just topple over each other because it assumes too many things, and once it does that, it just yeah, as you can see, things just fall apart pretty quickly. But I'm gonna keep going through with it because I'm dedicated. Don't know what this dimension here is for. I'm gonna just Control Z back to here. Yep, I'll leave that like that. Dimension U to there. I'll make that 10. Yes, one of them. 10. Great, love ya. From there to there can just be, I want that to be 4. It's a 4 mil thingo. From here, I want that to be like 2 mil. Yeah, 2 mil sounds about right. No, I don't want that. I want this one. That can be delete you. Like 10. Awesome. So I'm just going to fix up this, and I'm just going to kind of do it fairly jank. But it's going to get the job done. Or is it? That's there. Delete segments. Done. And I've kind of roughly got what I want. Okay. We're going to do the revolve around you. Cool. Now this has like a spanner thing on there, so like a hex. So I'm just going to go extrusion, and we've got this thing called pallet. So in the pallet, you've got like your hex. So if you want to make like a bolt or something, 6-sided hexagon, and it's a little bit janky in the way you have to put it together, but just going to go out and put that there. Close. Yes, I want it there. Cool. And I'm just going to put another circle around, and hopefully that highlights the outside now. Yes, it does. And remove material, clip that, and I've kind of roughly got what I wanted in terms of that. So obviously I can go and change this dimension to be whatever it needs to be, so like 9, I don't know, whatever you want. But there is a lovely stud. I think I ended up putting rounds or chamfers or something in here when I was making it. Obviously there's a round on the top. This part here was kind of internal round, something like that. And that kind of gives you that thing. Obviously you need to go and find actual dimensions for those sorts of things if you're getting them machined. But as I said before, this is just how to 101 do this thing. So we're going to save that, and I'm also going to quickly change that to look like a lovely bit of brass. Brass, yep, cool. File, close, close you, and then assemble. So I'm going to just turn those planes off because there's too many of them. Model, assemble, and I'm looking for studs. And as I said before, I always do the top and bottom surface first because it's a lot easier. I think I'll show you why actually right now. So if we go coincident and then go you with you, then it sits in there and clearly doesn't even fit. Awesome. But so to go on what I was saying before, so if I just delete that stud, delete. So I just did a right click there, go to delete. Okay, cool. So if I go assemble stud, and I do this one first, it obviously now it's like all the way out there, but sometimes it'll bring itself right down there, or it'll be like here, and then now you can't. Not only can you not immediately see those surfaces, you know, you have to move it to actually be able to select them nicely instead of right clicking all the way through the menus. So it's always better to just go studs, always start with that like top bottom contact patch. So top to there, need to be coincidental. So now it's like all the way off the screen, and if I wanted to like get it out of the road, it's a lot easier than moving to planes or something. And obviously our second one, new constraint, you with you. As you can see, it's gone yellow, and it kind of doesn't matter if it rotates. If you were worried, you could chuck on planes and lock this, like one of these axes in, like the planes, with like the side of something. If that's what you like worried about. I just turn planes off there. I'm not happy about how big that thing is, so I'm just going to quickly go in here and hopefully be able to change this extrusion. So 9, I'll make it like 5. Too small. I'll make it like 7. And now it sits in there pretty nice. But yeah, awesome. Now we're up to building the actual housing for this. Oh, sorry, I'm missing one of those studs. So I'll just quickly pop one of those in there. 1, 2, done. So now we want to make like a thing that houses the whole thing. So the way I'm going to go about doing this is I'm going to model it around this. So instead of making a new assembly and hopefully getting them to match up, I'm going to have this assemble the other thing and then build it around here. So the way I do that is I go new part. So that says create component. It's going to be a part. The file name is going to be module color or something. Definitely spelled that wrong. Yeah, something's not right. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. Okay. And see, it's asking, it says, oh, well, where do you want to place this thing? So depending on what you're modeling now is kind of the basis of where you want to place this. Because it's kind of the main thing, and it's going to be difficult to kind of put it on any other axis, I'm going to kind of be lazy and just chuck it on default. So that means it'll just be in the middle of everything. Not really ideal, not bad though for what we're working on. But sometimes when you're adding parts, you'll want to have to do it actually attach it to something and then extrude off there. So our new part is now assembled. So if I come down here, module cover, yep, is sitting there. And you can't actually see it because there's no part there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate it. So we go here, activate, selected model, and now I've just got this. So I want to start with a base. So there's not really a plane down here, and there's not exactly a plane at the top either. But I think I'm going to do a plane because this sits on here. So this surface here, this FR4 sheet, sits on top of the 3D printed part. So I'm just going to extrude off the bottom of that instead. Select that, rectangle, yeah, we'll go from the center because we want it to be a bit bigger. I can't really see what's going on there, so I'm going to use center lines. One, I think that's the center there too. Yeah. We'll just turn planes off now. There we go. I think I'm in the right spot. Yeah. And I'm just going to make it a bit bigger. A little bit bigger. How much bigger? Well, we can go and edit that now. So I think we want about, yeah, 25 mil on this side. This side we just want about probably 8. Yeah, around that. Cool. Okay, and it's just going to say, well, how big do you want this block? Well, it looks like we want it to be about 300. Obviously, you're going to have other constraints, whatever, but this is how I'm doing it. This may not be how you finally do it, but this is a way to go about doing it. So we've just got a block here. Obviously, it's normally got a hole through the middle. So if we go, actually, I'm going to take it back one. So instead of extruding a big block like that, I'm going to go and change that extrusion. What's going on? Change this extrusion. Edit, edit sketch. And I'm just going to put another rectangle in here instead of doing 2 of the same things. So this is just going to be the gap for everything to slot through. And I think it's going to be about 10 mils from the edges. So if I go dimension, U to U, we'll make that, this side I guess it can be 15. This side I think we'll make it 10. Or maybe not. But we'll make it 10 anyway. Maybe it's 15. 15 and 20. No, that's not what I wanted. Delete. God, undo. 15 and 20. No, it needs to be bigger than that. So this needs to be, not sure how big it actually is. I think I might bring this one in a bit. So it's 20. And I think there's room, or is that touching now? We'll make that 15. What's going on? $20 to there, 30 to there, we'll make that 20. And make that 15. Yeah, okay. I think that's kind of how it is. So press OK. That's kind of done. And I'm just going to go ahead and activate that main frame. And then just like I can come in here and check what our clearance is. So obviously it's not touching the edges there. So it shouldn't be touching the edges up here. I've got plenty of room. Theoretically, obviously, it depends on how accurate your thing is. And I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and reactivate that. And now I'm going to go put the handles on. The quickest way I think is just to do one and mirror it, and then I'll just do the extrusions on the bottom, and then we'll be done for this little part of the tutorial. So we'll go in here, we'll go rectangle, no, corner rectangle. Yeah, 12 mil. Not sure how big it actually is. Yeah, we'll just do that. Mirror it. Yeah, it's about, let's make it 100. Cool beans, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just put a huge round on there. So I think it was like 100 and something. So I'm just gonna make that 100, and another one there. That looks gross. So obviously it's not 100, it's like 90. Yep, that looks cool. Yeah, that looks good enough. It kind of looks a bit gross, but we're just kind of simulating what we're doing here, not what we actually did this year. And then I'm going to put a big hole in the middle. So I'm going to grab a center line to make sure I'm in the right spot. Whereabouts here, that'll do. Circle. That looks gross. 50. Yeah, that looks about right. Put that around. Cut out. Awesome. Done. Now I'm just going to you to you. I'm going to mirror you about this plane here. Done. Now obviously you'll probably, if you're actually modeling something that's 3D printed, instead of having these sharp edges, you'll probably put a small round in here or something like that. So yeah, obviously read Varden's wiki about that and you'll figure out what you're doing. But yes, awesome. Moving forwards, so that's done. Then it's just the cutouts on the bottom. So since this is activated, I can literally just extrude this bottom section out by going, yep, I'll start from there. It's a great spot. To there, awesome. How tall is that? 20. That'll do, perfect. Okay. Cut, flip, cut out, go all the way through everything. Just take it all off. So there's that there, done. Then there was something similar on this side. Can't remember exactly what it ended up looking like, but we're just going to put something rough in here. Yep. You equal. Cool. And we'll make this like, I don't know. Get out of that. Make you 150. Awesome. Done. Go through it all. Just eat it all up. Yeah, it didn't look something like, it looked a little bit like this, but not exactly. And then obviously you had things like the rounded edges through here. So they were a bit bigger than that. They were like this. So I'm just going to click on all the edges there, and that'll add that round there. I think that's all of them. Cool. Done. And that's everything done here. We've successfully, I'll just go and activate the main thing here. So I'm just going to go and press save. And one thing to note is, so this is something I mentioned in the level 0 tutorial. This new part that I've made here, if I didn't have my working directory in the right place, it would have went to wherever it was currently active. But yeah, so this is a accumulator module. Obviously, it doesn't look anything like what the actual one does. It kind of looks something similar, but you use the same processes to put this together. Anyway, in the next video, we'll be making an accumulator container out of folded sheet metal. So thanks for watching this one. If you made it to the very end, you probably didn't. But we'll see you there. Awesome. Thanks, guys.